Hey, welcome everybody. It is the Sunday Show, the show with the name that sucks because I couldn't think of anything better. So it's still called the Sunday Show, and it will probably always be called the Sunday Show because I have no originality. Anyways, guys, I talked to you guys last week, and I told you guys that I was going to be on a diet. And I did a lot of spreadsheet type stuff. I worked out the math, I worked out the caloric intake, the proteins, and all this stuff. And I wanted to see after, like, you know, the first week. I originally had planned till the end of the year, but I was like, you know what, I can do this sooner because my goal was to lose 25 pounds, and I figured 3 months was a good ballpark. If I could do it, you know, a few weeks sooner, you know, that's fine. But I figured maybe 2 pounds a week, maybe 3 the first couple, and that would and then kind of taper off. But I mean, I wanted to do it, you know, over a period of time rather than just like all at once, because obviously I don't want it to just be water. I don't want it to just be you know, putting a strain in my body. I want this to be permanent weight loss because I'm not obese, but I am a little bit overweight. I was 210 from my height, which is 5'6". Excuse me, 5 foot 11 inches. I should be about 185 pounds, maybe a little bit, you know, less, but I want to get down to 185 pounds. And so I broke it down. How many calories do I need for a deficit per week or per day in order to burn off that much fat? Now, it's a very, very coarse rule of thumb that I used. 3,500 calories for 1 pound of fat is very coarse, but it's a good approximation. And I'm going to show you guys the spreadsheet that I was using to do all this and work it all out. So we're going to be talking about that. And we also got a couple cool people in here. We got Dragnot, we got Alvin, we got Saka, we got Pseudo, and we also got Reginald Finley, who actually kind of, I don't know, specialized in this, but he has definitely a knowledge level on this particular stuff. People might remember him from a show that he used to have a while back. What was it called? The Reginald, the Infidel Guy? Was that the name of your show? The Infidel Guy, yeah. So you guys might have remember him. So let's see, make sure that I'm actually working now. Make sure that this is communicating to you on the outside feed, because we've had issues in the past with the mic. Everybody can hear me, and then we're going to get right into it. So Reginald, what I just said though, does that kind of make sense to go from if I want to lose 25 pounds to do it 2 pounds per week? And this is with an exercise routine. This is with you know, making sure I get the right amount of proteins. I figured I'm trying for about a 20% protein ratio. Like it should be about 10 to 35%, but I want to make sure that I get about at least 20% of my protein my caloric intake is proteins. And I'll show you the spreadsheet here. But does that sound feasible?
I got some protein for you.
Oh, I bet you do. Yeah. As you notice, Drag's the only one half naked on this right here. So Reynolds, that makes so
hot.
Dude, I live in California. You're telling me, come on. So 2 pounds a week. Actually 2 pounds of fat. That's what I want to lose, right? I want to gain the muscle. I want to gain muscle mass. So I'm actually working out and doing some anaerobic exercises. But 2 pounds a week feasible? Reginald?
Oh yeah, I mean easily. Of course, I think any nutritionist would probably say 1 pound just to be on the safe side. But if you're actually calculating your protein intake as well as doing a ratio of fat, you should be fine. You know, my rule of thumb was always kind of like what you just said. It was at 3,500. I just needed to make sure I was, or in excess of where I needed to be. Am I gaining muscle or losing fat? So that sounds about right. I wouldn't think requires a lot of calculations. Just depends on how specific you wish to be. So.
I only wanted to see, because I like science, right? And I just wanted to see if the math works out, right? People go on diets, and I've learned that people that actually map this stuff out, people that keep track of their caloric intake, and people that track their weekly and daily things, they do better. They end up actually getting to their goal. And so this hangout actually is meeting goals and expectations. I have a specific expectation. Same thing I had with the Great Debate community, which we'll talk about afterwards. I have certain goals with the Great Debate community that I started with and that I've been working on, and I want to meet those goals. This is how I took and I applied it to my weight loss. So anyways, if I could show you the spreadsheet that I'm using, and I'm hoping Armin can drop in, because Armin actually wants to do something similar. So if you drag,
I'll send her the link.
Yeah, would you? Thank you. So let me screen share real quick, and I'm not really watching the outside feed right now, guys. So sorry.
You're breaking up a little bit, Steve. You may have to F5.
All right, one sec. Let me present first, and then.
So, in the meantime, folks, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna F5. Okay.
Yeah, because you're breaking up real bad. Yeah. I did not do what Steve did. I did something that was way more drastic, but I checked with my name. I checked with the physician assistants that I worked with, and they said as long as I claimed that I was doing, I should be fine. And which was something called intermittent fasting. And so for about 23 hours out of a 24-hour period, day to day, I would not consume calories. I would just consume water. For 1 hour, usually from like 6 to 7 or 7 to 8, after I got home, I would consume all of the nutrients that I would need for the following or the subsequent 24-hour period. Yeah, 24 hour.
Let me check my mic real quick.
Sorry.
Is my magnifier better?
All right, that's much better.
Okay, finish up.
Much better.
And then I'll figure out how to blow this up while you're talking.
So basically, this worked to burn away calories to the point that it would be almost impossible for me to more calories than what I would burn in the next 24-hour period. Like it would be incredibly difficult for me, such a deficit that my body would be shedding weight at a rapid rate, not weight. Fucking rhyming, but is to make sure that if you know this, your level of activity, calorie intake is not going to be so skewed that you're going to be, going into such a deprivation that you're going to be hurting yourself. For any of you who've seen The Rock's cheat day, that's something that it's utterly ridiculous. And if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, this man can eat 3 whole pizzas and a stack of pancakes this big on his cheat day. That's just an extreme example of something that he does, but he is able to do that because his workouts are tailored to his physiology, to his level of activity, and towards the type of work that he does, in and outside of acting. His body type is enormous. Like, it is ridiculous. I would never, even during one of my cheat days, my buddy of mine, who's also in the Army, we went to an all-you-can-eat sushi buffet, and we ate our body weight in sushi. That would be the closest that I'd ever come to The Rock's cheat day.
And you were never invited back again.
Like they did, like they would keep making this stuff. Yeah, for $20, we ate our body weight in fucking sushi, and it was delicious. But we were burning so much calories, there'd be no way that we could, even get to half the amount of, calories that we previously burned. So anyway. All
right, so I figured out how to blow this up. Okay, so I'm using Open Office, by the way. Hey, Armin, welcome.
Hey, Armin.
Can you hear us,
Hey,
Ramin?
thank you so much. Oh, I can make mine a little bit bigger too. Never mind it.
Yeah.
Whatever I just did worked.
Can you guys
Steve,
see?
I
Can you guys see
noticed you
this?
took chimichangas off your spreadsheet.
Well, no, because today's
Yes.
Friday. I didn't have chimichangas this morning.
Oh, okay. This
I
is a
actually have
daily
this.
thing.
I actually have this
All right.
another sheet. I actually every day I've actually had my meal planner. But anyways, the way I've kind of worked is this. Again, I'm going for a 2-day or 2 pounds a week. Actually, how did this get changed? This I formatted this. Just hang on one sec. I'm very anal when it comes to some of this stuff. Okay, so what I did was I took some basic assumptions and then I started from the beginning. So I figured my current weight was 210. It was 210 and a half, and my target goal is 140 pounds. In order to lose that amount of weight over a period of 3 months or some amount, you have to create what's called a caloric deficit. You have to basically expend more energy or more calories than you're taking in, at the same time meeting your basic metabolic requirements and meeting your protein and your carbohydrates and other things. So there's a balance with this stuff, right? You don't want to just like starve yourself.
Can I interject, or do you want me to shut up? For a
No,
while?
please, no, go, because I know this is definitely important to you.
There's two assumptions that you made. One of them is that one way that you can lose weight is to reduce the calories, but the other way you can do it is to increase your metabolism. So I'd like to talk to you about that as you go through this.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully the way I'm doing this will change my metabolism as in addition, right? Because I don't want to put it back on, right?
Okay.
Okay, so this hopefully will account for that. So anyways, my this week alone, when I broke it down, I have my little meal planner here, but I actually got this to another spreadsheet. But if I can slide over here real quick, these are some of the assumptions that I've been using. Basically, a pound of fat is about 3,500 calories. Again, from what I understand, that's not exact, but it's a good approximation to go by. For my size and for the exercise program that I've started, right, which is going to be weightlifting and running, I've actually started jogging and run a mile. That my caloric intake, it needs to be about 2,700, give or take. Okay. In order to create that deficit, right, I needed to reduce it by about 1,000 calories a day. Okay, and that would equate to about 2 pounds per week, because a 500 deficit over 7 days is 3,500. So with a 500 caloric deficit a day, it's 1 pound a week. I'm at 1,000 right now deficit a day. That's 2 pounds a week, and I'm just a little bit over that right now. Actually, if you look at my numbers, the first day I didn't eat very much. I didn't do it on. I started on Sunday because that's when I bought my scale, right? So I didn't have any data for that particular day. But this is my caloric intake for the week that my total average was about 1,500 calories per day, a little bit over, which is kind of where I was going for. Since my deficit needed to get 2 pounds a week is 1,000 less than the 2,700, comes out to about 1,700. I'm a little bit under that. I've actually lost about 3 pounds right now. Okay, it's 3.6, but again, that varies a little bit, right? That's not, I'm using averages, but that includes a lot of other things, my weighing time, water, but effectively, I've definitely lost three plus pounds, because I started at 210, I'm down to 207 now. Sometimes it reads about 206. Let me ask you, Reginald, based upon my caloric intake and my protein, by the way, my basal assumption was that 1 gram protein is equal to 4 calories. So for every 4 calories, I want to get at least 1 gram of protein. I didn't factor in carbohydrates because I figured that's kind of going to take kind of itself. But I wanted to average between 10 and 35% protein. On the average, about 20, some days a little bit higher. So my average has been about 20 some odd percent for protein. Does that sound reasonable?
Okay, can I ask just 3 questions?
Yes.
What is your starting percentage body fat?
My BMI, that's a great question, actually. My BMI was 29.3.
No, not your BMI, your body fat percentage.
Percentage. I have that somewhere. You know what? I don't remember.
Because that's not something you get from a calculation. You actually have to use the calipers
caliper
or
method.
get a test to do it.
Yeah, no, there is something you can estimate,
Okay, so,
though. But there's a caliper method for it, and there's a displacement of water, right, method?
Right, but if you do the water displacement method, you usually have to, they like send these little electrodes, whatever, through you, and you're going to get your percentage of lean index or body mass and lean body mass, then you're going to get fat, and then you're going to get water. And you should know the intracellular and as well as extracellular with that. The reason I ask this is depending on what your percentage body fat is, this might be a good breakdown of protein, carbs, and fat. But if you have a higher percentage of body fat, and again, I'll show you a calculator. I think what my gut's telling me right now is you're going to lose weight for about 3 weeks, and then you're going to plateau with this.
And that's a concern too. At that point, you start having to make some different modifications to the diet.
Right. But what the modification is I'm recommending in your calculations is that you actually add all the foods you have, how many carbs they have, as well as how much fat, and actually count not only calories, but your macros.
Okay, the reason I didn't go with the counting the macros is because I didn't want to get too, invested, right? I mean, because you can break it down to your fats, obviously, and your carbohydrates, and I think they're kind of take care of yourself. Now, I was concerned, like you said, of plateauing out at a certain stage, but since I figured I'm only losing 25 pounds, I'm not going from like 400 pounds to like 180, right? I'm not going for a huge amount of difference. My overall body fat is not going to, or my percentage of fat is not going to change a hell of a lot, considering that I am pretty, not thin, but I'm not big to begin with, right? So I just didn't go to that nuance. Now I think for other people that are dieting, you're right. Wouldn't that be something that they should include?
I think it's something that everyone should include. And here's the reason the value of the fats and the carbs, and you can take it or leave it, I'm just recommending it, is because there's going to be, like, if you see yourself at one point and you're like, I'm plateauing, what should I do? And all you know is how many calories and protein you've taken in, you're not going to necessarily be able to say, oh, I should go up on fat or down on protein or reduce my carbs, right? If you're not tracking those 3 critical things. And there's some apps that do it out there. There's like 2 of them that I can give you that do it simply. You just click, this is what I ate, done.
Yeah, no, that's good. I can include that for the next week's, which is obviously right here. I fudged this number here only because I haven't taken it yet, but
okay, so let me give you an example right now. Can you go up to your breakfast?
Yeah, one sec. I don't know how this disappeared. I usually take my morning measurement after I get up.
Okay.
So I just don't know.
So there's a lot of evidence that's showing, for instance, yeah, you definitely want to take the measurement when you get up, right? And there's a lot of this stuff that I can show, but ideally there's 2 things that I don't see in here that are interesting. Number 1, if you can work out on an empty stomach, eat, that actually burns more calories and burns more calories over a period of time if you actually lift weights. Right?
Yeah, I'm lifting weights.
So I won't go into too much of that. The second thing that's critical is something called intermittent fasting, whatever diet you take, which is basically saying that you eat your 3 or 4 meals a day within an 8-hour window and you don't eat for 16 hours. So my intermittent fasting is from 11 in the morning until 7 p.m. So at 7 p.m., I don't have another drink. I don't have another calorie. I don't whatever. And then I kind of go to bed at like 8:39 because I'm old now. And then I wake up around 6:30. I do my workout at 7 till 9. And then I take my thyroid medication and then I'm eating at 11, right? Like that's just my thing. But the value of it is that those lifting weights that you do then have so much more time to heal. You increase your metabolism, you start to reset your kind of your clock or whatever. So while all of this I think is brilliant, the challenge is if you have, like for breakfast, you have 3 servings of carbs right there. That's a ton.
Yeah, well, let me just point out real quick. This breakfast is unusual. If you look at my other breakfasts, I had eggs, right? I have eggs. This was just a day because I didn't really want to prepare much. I wasn't really that hungry. but I don't have any eggs. I ran out. So this is unusual. Usually I'll have 2 eggs. I'll have a hash brown. I have 1 piece of bread. I'll have pears or carrots, and my drink is a whey protein thing that I drink. And then, like you said, I do have workout routines. These are the things I'm focusing on, like biceps every other day, some more stringently than others, some triceps, some chest, push-ups, and then, like you said, I don't eat anything after about 8 o'clock. That's my last meal. I'll drink water, lots of water. I love my water because I'm in California, right? But I don't eat anything until 8 o'clock in the morning the next day. So 12 hours of fasting that I'll have.
The ideal is 15 hours.
Well, if I eat a little early, sometimes I'll eat about 6. About 14.
I'm just telling you the data that's out there, and I can send you any of this to anybody who's interested, really. But I like, all I'm saying is just careful on the carbs. That's it.
Yeah, I was actually going to go to a low carb thing, but I didn't want to cut out carbs completely.
I wouldn't do low carb necessarily. You're not. It's not that you're low carb, but right now you're just this day that I'm seeing 4, 5, 6, 6.5 so far.
It's carb
portions
heavy.
Of carbs.
Yeah, it's carb heavy right today. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. I would just see if there's a way to get it to like 20 to 30 grams a day of carbs.
I'll include that starting tomorrow. I'll include that on my meal planner. Go ahead.
On that, Ermine, you're not saying that people should just completely nix carbs, because I think there's a popular, I say popular or somewhat popular diet going around where people are completely getting rid of carbs. Y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can never, it's not safe long-term to mix carbs, but it's just your carb choices. So ideally you want to get your 15, 20, 30 grams of carbs from leafy vegetables,
like
from
simple
vegetables.
carbs.
It's simple as opposed
spinach,
to complex.
like spinach and cabbage.
Exactly.
Yeah. And by the way,
any really type of vegetable, they don't have a ton of carbs, and you can eat them until the cows come home, and it's not a ton. But you really don't want to do more than one kind of like pasta or hash brown or potatoes or corn a day.
And I love my corn, by the way. Cream corn and whole corn.
Right?
I love my corn. But I do want to say, if you notice here, I do have my 3 days of rest. My exercise routine is literally 4 days a week. So I don't want to go to this mentality. You've got to exercise every single day. Now, granted, these days of rest still include movement, right? They still include me. I might do something calisthenically, but I'm not running the 1 mile. I'm not doing, 2 sets of reps of 50 reps each of my barbells, right? Because I don't want, like you said, you have to give those muscles time to heal. And I start off with 15-inch arms. I'm trying to get an extra inch on them, 16. I used to pump iron a lot before I went in the Navy. I know you guys are hard to believe this, but I was in good shape. I was ripped. I mean, seriously lean and ripped. In fact, it's the only thing that saved my ass, because had I not been, boot camp would have killed me.
I know. Can I ask you to consider something else?
Yes, go ahead.
You see how your weight focus is bicep, tricep. Oh no.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead. I'll bring it in a sec.
And if I'm, and people, I know people are watching, like, this girl is bossy, and I'm not meaning to be
No, that's why I brought
bossy.
you in, because I know that this is what you wanted to talk about. Go ahead, please.
I'm gonna actually click and see if there's any. Oh, good. There's no. Oh, wait. There's no. Okay, there's some commentary. Okay, so the next thing I'd ask you to consider is your weight focus. You have bicep, triceps, chest kind of built in there. What I'm basically asking you to consider is, on Mondays, do your upper body. And I hear an echo for some reason now.
It could be
and
original.
on do your lower.
Yeah,
I would actually second that.
One sec. This is not complete. I have been doing squats. I have been doing stretching exercises. I have been doing well, back when I took karate, there'd be a kata form where you just kind of you bend your legs and you have your back straight, and you basically hold that form for as long as you can, and it hurts like a bitch. And after about 10 seconds, you want to die, and then about 20, you do 30. You learn. Well, I used to be able to do it for several minutes at a time, right? Well, I can do it for 30 seconds now. I'm good to go. And so I've been trying to do stuff like that. And so is that what you're talking about for lower body? Because I have been doing that. I just didn't include this in that.
Well, there's 2 things. Yeah. So what you want to do when you're doing your upper body is you want to do push and pull.
Isometrics.
So you have biceps, which they're a pull, and triceps are a push, right? Yes. Oh, wait, yes. And then you have chest, which is a push. I would add something to your back to balance that out. Because, right, you could do like a lat pull down, or you could do, there's some lat deltoids type exercises that can help balance that. But you should be doing about 4 to 5 exercises that are push and pull.
I do kickbacks. I do hammer curls. I mean, there's a couple. I'm kind of limited in what I can do. I don't have I don't have a gym. Right, I'm really limited just with some barbells that I have.
This is fine.
So.
But okay, so then what my recommendation is to do like the kettlebell squats, right? Where you go down and at the same time you're pulling your arms up, so you're working like 3 or 4 muscles.
Those hurt.
And then at some point you'll start to plateau. You can add lunges, but you really have to figure out a way to get the hamstrings, because you're doing a lot with the quads and the glutes. And my worry is about 2 weeks in, you're going to have some issues with your hip flexors and your IT band, like the side of your hips or quads, kind of all the way down to your knee, if you're not balancing that out with some hamstring stuff.
I can tell you right now that some of the exercises I've been doing must be effective, because right now the biggest thing that hurts is my hamstrings. So I mean, they hurt. Squats itself, they're not my favorite things to do, because they are, to me, the most painful. I'm not a big fan of them.
What I like to suggest, Airman, and to make sure that people are getting kind of a full body, full spectrum workout, is to go to a pool. You will work everything, because that the force of the water itself.
I'm hesitant on the pool, and this is why I'm going to tell you guys this. You actually exercise to actually lose weight is cardio. I'm going to repeat that. The worst exercise to lose weight is cardio. The best exercise to lose weight is resistance training and weights. There's no way around that. The reason you do cardio is to maintain. So what you'll see when you first start cardio is, for the first 2 to 3 weeks, you will lose weight. And the only way to continue losing weight with cardio is to either amp your intensity or your duration. So the problem is, after like 3 months, to actually continue losing weight, you're either spending 2 hours walking or running, or you're spending you're doing these insane runs in the hills, because your body will always recalibrate.
Yeah, and that's why I want to vary my routine, and I will be running other places. There's mountains up here. Well, they're not mountains; they're foothills, right? And they have paths, right? And I think the people go up there all the time, and it's endurance, because you're going uphill, right? Which is obviously going to lay a lot more stress on your body, right? But I want to lose some weight before I do that, because I don't want to carry 210 pounds up there. When I get down a little bit. Yeah. So, anyways, I just want to show you real quick that I have looked at the carbs things. So I kind of have looked at that, but I will take that more into account, following your advice for the next week's daily meal planner, because I do plan out the meal ahead of time, and I think that's the best way to go. Because like tomorrow, I haven't made mine yet, but I'll know tomorrow exactly what I'm having, and I'll have it all planned out. Does that make sense? Is that cool?
Right. And my recommendation is to plan out breakfast and lunch ahead of time, and for dinner to be dictated based on, if we're hungry, you may want to eat more, but you may need to eat more protein. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Yeah.
Like your body,
and a cheat day. I need a cheat day. I want my cheat day, but I haven't really. I'm not gonna have my cheat day for the first 2 or 3 weeks, maybe.
I think you need to wait 21 days before you have a cheat
That's fair.
day.
Well, that's 3 weeks.
Yeah. That's what a habit starts. I'm sorry, I'm being so bossy.
But is that what I said? I said 3 weeks, right? That's 21 days.
Just to break it up, I want to get Reginald in the conversation, because he's our resident vegan. So, and I wanted to also
nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Too, that for my workouts in the Army was completely unhealthy long term.
How does?
And I say that not from a well, the intermittent fasting is a lifestyle change. It's not a diet. You have to maintain it, or as you see, you fall off the wagon and you can go the exact opposite way. The purpose that it served for me during that time was to remove me from the area of being, disbarred from the Army because of height and weight standards. And so I was using it as a way of combating you know, me just kind of impulsively eating due to, you know, stresses of the job. So I had to make a lifestyle change, and with that came me working out literally 3 times a day, where in the morning I would have morning PT, which would consist of maybe a mile or 2 run, and then various calisthenics for about an hour and a half with my unit. In the afternoon, I would go to the gym. Now, I would spend at least an hour in the gym, and then that workout was very depending on the day. And like Ermine said, I mixed it up with, depending on the day. So if it was Monday, it was arms and chest and back, so pretty much upper body, but it would always start off with a 1 mile run because I thought I was going to lose weight. I did it to start my workout and get my body going, get my metabolism going.
Let's get Reginald here.
Or excuse me, my heart rate, not my metabolism.
I'm not giving up my meat, Reginald,
hold
by
on
the
for a
way.
second. So that was an afternoon, and I did that for an hour. And so at night, after I got off of work, I would then go for, I think, around the block and back to the house. It was about 3.5 miles. And so that was a slow walk / jog, because we had a jogging stroller with my family. And so I would do that pretty 5 to, you know, I would say 5 days out of the week. With every other weekend, I maybe go for like a little ruck march with a buddy of mine. And so that sort of thing took a toll on my body. And this, I did, some of it was in the gym, but a lot of it was out. And so now my knees are feeling that pain. That is, yeah, when I say block, I mean around the entire housing block, which consists of 8 subsections in cul-de-sacs.
Hey, just real quickly, was the outside chat? Wait a sec. Was the outside chat not able to see the spreadsheet? Because I just looked on my OBS and it shows a Blake thing. Were they not able to see any of that?
I was watching it earlier.
I don't see your spreadsheet in the outside chat.
Yeah. Did the live chat not see any of my spreadsheet? Was it just the inside guys that are seeing that?
I'm scrubbing the video and I don't see it.
All right, because I can see now they're not seeing us. They're only hearing us talk, and they're only seeing our chat. But nobody pointed it out to anybody. So
I was too busy talking. Sorry.
So I will figure this out.
Like something like that, I would probably not do now. Like working out 3 times a day is just that's way too much. That's way too much.
Wait,
so
I mean, you can do it, but it depends. I mean, are you getting paid professionally to do this? And it depends on what exercises you're doing. So, you know, yeah, I think we need to be very careful. From what I can tell by the spreadsheet, it looks like he's on the right path to me. I think what is key here is really just the myth that there's a myth that there are too much carbs. I mean, it really depends on how much you're intaking. If your body is not metabolizing that, then of course, then you can end up with problems. But there, I think, how do you pronounce your name?
Hermine.
You mentioned something about the carb. There, as you know, there are a lot of studies that show actually carbs may not even be the problem. Actually, if you're working out, dude, you're going to be burning that stuff so quickly. It's going to be ridiculous. And again, they're complex carbohydrates. So hopefully then is that your body energy to break down those, then they would, of course, other forms of sugar. So I think you're on the right path. I think you're doing great. If you run into what I simply recommend is what you just said you're going to do anyway, and that will be to vary your workout. And at that point, you can then begin to modify and adjust your fat. Your protein, by the way, some experts recommend no more than 40 grams a day.
Really?
So, because
that's awfully low, it sounds like.
No, I've never.
That's a half of what I've heard.
Believe any of us who are researchers out there, you can find studies for anything. But some medical doctors say that you don't even need to have even more than 40. Again, I'm not sure I would recommend that, but I'm just saying don't be so caught up in that necessarily. Some people might say too much. As we know, anybody who's researched this, you know, my background is biology, you don't want to put a strain on your kidneys. So recommend that you keep doing what you're doing. It looks great.
I would be more like the paleo diet, high protein.
I don't think you're going to plateau. You have a plan in place for the for that. So it looks like you're on the right path to me, and I think you're intelligent enough to know how to adjust as you need to.
I've ran it by a nutritionist, so I've kind of worked it out. I mean, I came up with all this myself, but I wanted to make sure that you know, it made sense.
If you go to Google Scholar and you research on protein intake, and there are a few studies out there that are showing that it's very possible that, especially with the standard American diet, that we're receiving far too much protein.
All right, because the reason that I'm asking that, when I don't disagree with 40 grams of protein maintaining, I just am really, I've never seen the evidence that shows that when you're trying to lose or bulk up.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 3.36 grams for every pound of body weight. 0.36 grams is the.
So are you trying to bulk up, or are you just trying to use?
I'm saying either one. If you're maintaining, I could totally agree with your 40 grams of carbs. Right? Totally agree. If you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to bulk up, I don't know that I've ever heard that argument, so I will Google scholar it and see what I can find.
See, I want to gain muscle mass, but also my main bigger concern is as I'm losing it around my waist. I used to be about a 36-inch waist. That was my medium. Sometimes I would go to 34, sometimes 38, but you know, we fluctuate in life, right? I've been up to a 44 now. Okay, I mean, big difference. Nothing I have fits me. It's a huge amount compared to what I was.
Right.
So I'm afraid that, you know, as I'm losing the belly fat, I have not done abdominal stuff for a while. So I've actually been doing sit-ups and things like that. It's not going to create a lot of muscle, but it's going to be, I want it to be the underlying muscle tone. So when that does start, the fat starts going down, it shows better. Does it make sense?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. And it will. Exactly right.
All right. But my biceps, I mean, I want them to be, you know, decent. I mean, like I said, I liked working out years ago. I enjoyed working out, but I haven't in years. And I tell you what, the first, look at that. Look at that. Oh my God. Crush your head like a walnut. You know, but I tell you, the first 3 days of the, you know, of this, the first couple times I was working out pretty heavy, and the first time I tried running, I didn't make it the full mile running. I walked, you know, but I ran, but then walked. But I mean, yeah, seriously, it hurts. When I was doing the squats this week and stuff like that. Well, I mean, it's not painful. It's just sore. How about that? I shouldn't say it hurts.
Okay, let's say, yeah, if you're in pain, it's not good.
No, no, it's nothing painful. Like, I mean, oh my God, I'm gonna die. No, it's just uncomfortable when you're kind of sore. You know, you're like, oh my God, I need a hot bath, kind of thing. But that's the way it's supposed to be, right? So, but anyways, I just want to show you guys that I'm taking this very seriously, right? I'm taking this diet seriously. This is what I said I wanted to do. I put my mind to something. I've worked it out. I've got great suggestions from Armin and Reginald. I'm going to take them to heart. Add the carbohydrates into it, as well as the fats and all the macro molecule stuff. So, yeah, but I think right now, I mean, I've got a good. I got a good game plan. I was saying,
Hermine apps. Yeah, Hermine mentioned some apps. Hermine, can you talk to us about one of those apps you said you might want to recommend?
Yeah, let me type them in so people can check it out. If there's two that are like super easy. One of them is called MyPlate, and I'm typing it into out here.
Now, is this an Android app, or is this something you can use on
Android
a PC?
And iPhone. And the other is called Keto Diet.
I don't have a phone.
Okay.
Keto? Is this keto? So are they recommending the ketogenic diet? Is that what this is for?
No. The MyPlate does not recommend keto. The keto diet does. It doesn't matter because what they do is track calories, and they'll do active as well as inactive. They track protein, fat, or calories and macros in a nutshell. Right? Both of those apps do. So MyPlate is the one that I use. It doesn't, this one's by Livestrong, and you can choose any diet plan with it. And that's why it just depends on like where you're at. If you need to lose a ton of weight, I tell everyone keto. If you need to use moderate, I kind of stay away from Atkins. I don't recommend that. I think that's too much protein. Keto is fat first, then moderate protein, then low carb.
Yeah, because I'm not trying to lose a huge amount of weight. 25 pounds is not huge. You know, I'm not obese.
Right. It just depends on, it's more of a percentage to me, how much percentage of your body fat, not even body mass index, but that's another one.
That's a good point.
Is that based on it, and that's why I'm really recommending MyPlate, is if you're like, hey, I just have 10 pounds and it's in the midsection, it will give you exercises as well as a food program for just focusing on your midsection, depending on if you're male or female. Each one of them is just really focused and tended towards you. I don't do all that. I just use the free versions of them. I'll need you to tell me the exercise. I can go online to a YouTube channel and figure that out, right?
Right.
Well, the real question is who wants to go on a diet with us now?
Yeah, no, I'm doing it with you. I just won't share my current weight
No,
until
I
I
don't.
get to my close.
Yeah, no, I know. You've mentioned Ermine and I have discussed this prior. You know, so you know, this is why I definitely wanted her in here, because she has a lot of input on this. But if other people want to do it with us, you know, if you want to lose some weight, track it with us. You know,
I think
it's better for community thing.
There's another aspect to it that we need to talk about, that I was thinking about doing a little bit on my channel, and the fact that when people think about diets and changing their body in any way, shape, or form, there's a definite psychological aspect to it that that doesn't get talked about a lot. And a part of the reason why some folks gain weight, and I can speak for myself, is depression. It's the symptom of a problem and not treat the issue, and the issue will still linger and you will still fail, and then there's this vicious cycle that ends up happening. And I've spoken about this a little bit before, but I want to talk about it a little bit more in detail, that if you do have an underlying issue, and I'm not talking about taking medication, I'm talking about having some type of issue in your life that is causing you to become so stressed that it is depression, that needs to get rectified first, because if that is what's kind of pushing you here and forcing your brain to kind of seek the worst case scenarios, then you're not going to be very successful in your endeavors. So I would definitely, first and foremost, if you're known to suffer from depression, go seek treatment.
And
definitely go seek treatment.
Food is cathartic, isn't it, though? Food is cathartic for people that suffer from depression, and I can see why. I happen to like food. The reason I put on so much weight is because I liked to eat. I would, and I'm not even bullshitting here. I mean, you're gonna shit yourself on this. I would eat, like, for example, like, okay, not just like a whole pizza, right? That's easy at this point. Eating a whole freaking pizza, done. You know, 1,000 calories right there, boom. But no, I would have like a whole turtle pie, an Edwards turtle pie, which is like 3,500 calories, you know, total for the pie. And instead of having just the pie, I'd eat the whole freaking thing, right?
Yeah,
I have that's a lot of freaking.
I have too. I have eaten a whole pecan pie, the Marie Callender
What's
stuff
the
that you
sugar
see in
that?
the grocery stores.
Dude, what is the sugar?
Whoa.
Yeah, how much sugar do you think?
A whole pie, not in the same day, like over the course of like 4 or 5 days.
You just have diabetic written all over you.
Yes, and so that's at that point it was like, well, it actually gets worse than that, but that's the depths of some of the depression that I've gone through.
Oh my God.
So
pie
that's something that needs to be fixed, and that's one of the reasons I moved, is because I was so depressed.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know what, I need to put myself and my family in a better situation. And so I said, the reason that I'm so close to my school is also because I want to be able to walk to school.
Yeah.
I don't want to take the bus. I don't want to take my car. My car is for my wife. I will manually pick up my son from the school bus and from school. His school is walking distance. It's a little bit more, but if I needed to, I could walk for half an hour and go to his school.
Yeah, and so the value of that vitamin that comes from the sun that
vitamin D
really helps with depression and stuff.
You know what's
that
funny?
Melanin be popping.
I actually, before I moved, because I did get the bus to get around mostly, even though I had a car, but it was just a lot cheaper and easy, you know, whatever. I had to walk a mile to get to the bus stop, and then I had to walk a mile home. That's 2 miles of walking a day. That's 300 calories being burnt. Well, maybe if I'm walking, I did try running it sometimes, like I'm late for the bus, but that's at least 200 to 300 calories being burned a day that was taken into account. When I moved, I was sedentary. So I didn't have that anymore, right? So I need to be able to get back. 'Cause I used to run 5 miles a day, right? One time in my life.
Oh, and one other thing, can you put up your spreadsheet again?
Sure. Yeah, I hope it works.
Something to consider. And this is something that's been working really well for me. I've lost 15 pounds so far. I'm just going to ask you to consider it.
All right. But I have to be. You know what? I already closed. I already closed it, and it's kind of slow, but I'll eventually open it. It's going to take a while.
Okay. Lifting weight. Okay. Tuesday, upper. Those days you do cardio, or you do minimal cardio to warm up your body. Minimal cardio to warm up your body is 20 minutes of walking. You lift, you're out. Wednesday is your day off. On your days off, Monday is your next leg day. Friday is your arm day. Saturday and Sunday off, cardio. And you'll get to a position where you can either add your abs on your off days, or you can add them every day. Some people do that. Or you can add them on arms days, because one of the things you'll notice is arms days always go quicker than legs days.
Yeah. Yeah,
so those are all things to consider.
My computer's being screwed. It's just it's opening calculator,
Yeah.
which but anyways, you're right. Yeah, and I'm flexible in that routine. This is my first week, right? So I haven't got it down to an exact regiment yet. It needs to be fine tuned. I was more worried about getting the meals down, the calories, the proteins, and that kind of stuff. So. But if I've lost already, like I said, 3 weeks that I know, I mean, so 3 pounds that I know is solid so far. That is actual loss. I'm happy with that. I think it's showing results, and that leads to me wanting to do more. Right? It leads me to going, hey, look, I've actually seen a result here. I'm not gaining weight. I'm not maintaining weight. I'm actually losing, and what I'm doing seems to be working. Now, as you said, Hermine, I'll have to change that and adjust it as needs be to get to where I want to be. But eventually, I will be at that 185. Or at least somewhere around, maybe, because I mean, I want to make sure that I don't look funny, right? I mean, so I want to build on some muscle mass. So I know my goal is somewhere down that area. I think 185 is perfect, but we have to see when we get down to that,
Yeah, one of the things that people overlook too is checking with their primary care provider, their physician assistant, whoever. That is very, very important, because the stuff that I can recommend may not work for you. Stuff that folks, the stuff that we're offering is very generic.
Yeah.
But having a tailored diet according to your metabolism, your physiology, is something that you and your primary care provider need to talk about.
Especially
or if you have
weight,
some type of nutritionist or something like that, somebody who knows what is good for you. There's a series of blood work that can be done. It's a blood panel that can be done, and will show you what your body can and cannot metabolize. And that's why the medical field now is moving more toward what's called
individualized or personal
individualized plans and pharmacogenetics. And Reginald, you're probably more familiar with pharmacogenetics, because we're finding out that if I take 50 milligrams of tramadol, it's going to affect me different than Hermine. And there is a male-female kind of dimorphism with our metabolism, but there's also her lineage more to do with or is more inclined to metabolize molecule in the tramadol, and my lineage may not be able to do that, even though that sexual dimorphism is also there. And so it is really important that people understand that we are all different in some way, shape, or form.
An example, because I want to echo that. When I did all my blood work before I started this, and it was it's all out of pocket, unfortunately. It was about $140. So it wasn't killer, but it was still like, that sucks. And one of the things, they found 2 key things. One is I had, like, in my gut bacteria, like an excess growth of candida. So they added a really good probiotic to kill the bad, the candida, and add the good stuff in. So that was number 1. What that allowed me to do is quit with my sugar cravings. Oh, okay. So that was really big for me. The second thing that they noticed is I had a very high insulin resistance. So an average is like 0.5 to 6. The number was. Mine was 16. Usually that, like, so basically what my doctor was saying is I was pre-diabetic, like pre-diabetic, right? Like I was heading down that path.
So your body was producing insulin, but it wasn't as effective as normal?
Yes, I was basically, my metabolism slowed and my insulin had just shot up, and that's why I was gaining weight. And so what happened for me is I had to reduce the carbs. That's why I was, but then he pretty much is like, everybody's really eating too much carbs in the American diet. But his whole thing is everyone's eating too much in the American diet. But that's the whole nother story.
Well, what are you supposed to eat if you don't eat carbs, protein, fat? I mean, there's only so many. I don't know what else there is.
He's talking about the complex carbs. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's complex carbs. Okay.
Insulin resistance. So if you see a high insulin resistance there, you know that you have to eat more fat, protein, and simplex carbs.
Okay, because that confused me, because I'm like, well, what else are you going to eat if you just eliminate carbs? You're talking about more the complex carbs than the simple carbs. Okay.
I mean, no, and that's something that actually speaks to another point. We do need the way that we talk about fitness and health. We do need to have a more robust understanding of, and sad to say, biochemistry. That there is a difference between, quote unquote, good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. And I hate making that distinction, because that's not actually accurate.
Yeah, your HDL and you want to get Ronnie in here
to explain.
Let's get Ronnie. He's the
Ronnie explain.
Yeah, Ronnie's our expert. So let's get Ronnie in here. Maybe he can explain this.
And so maybe Reggie, you can kind of expound upon what I'm trying to get at here. Is that with the, I think, HDL and LDL?
I mean, yeah, you're right. Too much of either can be bad for you. I think I heard Hermine earlier mention about the intracellular fat. There are some theories, she might disagree, but there are some evidence that actually too much fat that are being locked away in those cells can potentially be leading also to insulin resistance. So I'm not so sure about, I guess it depends. I mean, you would have to be consuming a heck of a lot of carbohydrates to interfere with your ability to metabolize sugar and et cetera. So I'm kind of leaning more toward it may be our fatty diet that is also causing problems. I know there are studies out there showing that fat's not a problem. I don't disagree with them, because I've seen other studies that disagree. And of course, as you know, there are other studies in many societies or where there are high vegetarian or the vegetarian diet show that they have less incidence of some of the same issues we have, especially as far as fatty deposits. So anyway, so when I think of those things, I'm not so sure that that's the case. I know I scarfed down carbohydrates and my blood work was perfect.
Right, but
a whole big bowl of mashed potatoes almost every day.
But, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Have you ever had a problem with hydrates?
A problem with it? No.
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. Like and I'll just give you my example, because I know you very well. I'm from Cameroon, right? And when you grow up in Cameroon, your primary diet, you actually don't have very many carbs. If you do, it's from fruits and veggies. Like you get the mango, you get the avocado, that's your fruit. You walk and you just grab your vegetables. That's how it is. Meat is actually a luxury. So the only meat you usually eat in a given day is fish. If you have like guests over, you get chicken. And maybe you get like the elephant once a year and the monkey once a month, right? Like that was my diet until I moved here. It's much more sedentary. And I started eating naturally more carbs, because that's the American diet.
Okay, so it's an epigenetic issue, basically, you're saying.
Epigenetic. And that's why that's why I'm just asking him to track more things so that he can see for his own self whether he should be going up or down on fats, carbs, and protein. I don't know that, because I don't know him. I'm just asking him to consider, and everyone to consider.
And I will tell you that I have blood work done. I just recently, as you guys know, I had to go to the hospital a couple months ago. It's been a while, I guess now. But I actually had an EKG, and the guy actually said, you want to see what a perfect EKG is? I at least knew that my heart was in good shape. I at least had some blood work done. I know that me running a mile is not going to kill me. So I do think that it is important to have some tests done, at least consult with somebody on this kind of stuff if you want to get an exercise routine. But that's just, I think it's good advice. Good advice to get some expertise on these things. But I just want people to know that I did have an EKG for my heart. It's perfect, and my blood work was pretty well normal. Minor stuff, I sometimes my cholesterol goes high. I've been on what are they called, cholesterol reducers, and I've been on statins. But for the most part, I'm pretty nominal when it comes to it. But I just want to make sure, because I'm exercising a lot, that my heart can take it, right? Because I'm old, and my age, we have to consider, because I'm 47, Reginald, and my age, my exercise is kind of like not as easy. It doesn't come easy to me like it was when I'm 23.
I'm 43. I understand.
You are not.
Okay,
dude, you're like 12. Look at you.
I'm 43.
Look at you, dude.
Reginald, can I ask you a question on one thing we may be able to agree on? I think that sugar is actually really bad for you.
Which type?
I agree.
Which is that? All sugars?
Okay.
Yeah, because too much can still contribute, as you know, to intracellular fat as well. And so
But are you talking about all sugars?
Have a lot of it, but in the American diet, oh my gosh, sodas.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But are you talking about
every morning my coffee?
Are you just talking about disaccharides, or are you talking about monosaccharides as well, or just any kind of sugar, complex, simple
Any
sugars?
kind can be bad, and if too much.
Well, sure, that's yeah. But I mean,
oh, go ahead.
I just say I don't like sugars that much. I do like my pie, right? But I'm not a big fan of sucrose. I'm not a big fan. I mean, if I have any kinds of sugars, I use a dextrose sugar packets that I have. It's actually dextrose, maltodextrose, and it's aspartame, but very minimally. But I'm not a big fan of sugar. I don't eat like candy bars or anything like that. So yeah, I'm not. I'm not. I like pie. I don't know what it is. You know. Whether it be a coconut cream, banana cream, whatever. But I'm not a big fan of, hey, let me go eat, 5 pounds of chocolate chips or something, Not a big fan.
Like if people could cut out pop, I think that'd be huge.
I have drink no soda.
And I'm not a believer.
The hell's pop?
I'm not a believer of diet soda either, because this fascinating study was just done where the lady gave people the amount of sweetener, like 150 milligrams or something like that. It's basically 2 sugar packets, right? Or maybe it was 5. It doesn't matter. But what happens with diet sweeteners is, even though you have a lot less calories, you might have 5 calories in those 5 packets. It trips your body to believe that it's sugar, and so it acts like it's sugar. And people don't get that. They're like, "Oh, I don't have the calories," but they don't understand that those 5 calories to burn off is just as hard as those 150 calories from those 5 packets of sugar.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I've read that as well. I don't like soda that much anymore. I don't drink diet soda. My main intake, I like water, juices, milk, skim milk, or 1%.
Juice has a lot of sugar.
Yeah, but I mean, at least it's fructose, and again, it's sparingly, right? A glass of orange juice, something like that. It's everything in moderation, right? But I do prefer just drinking water. I'll make some tea. Like I said, I have green tea. I have some brown tea. I don't like almond milk that much. I can't stand soy milk. Ugh. No soy for me.
Started working out and trying to eat better. I try to eat better. One of the things I could not cut out was sweet tea, and that is Southern sweet tea was one of my vices. And
yeah, that's good.
Mixing the soda or pop, however you want to call it, that wasn't too hard because I noticed that my taste changed, and I stopped having a taste for soda after about a week. And I think that's something that definitely helps. And having water on hand, I think, is probably one of the most important things.
I hate to say it.
Everywhere I went, I had a water bottle, Camelback, some source of water.
I'm a huge fan of sweet tea, especially like McDonald's sweet tea.
I hope that you let go of the sweet tea.
I know.
It is just as bad.
It's so good, though. Sweet tea is my vice as well.
Yeah.
I totally agree. It is just so bad.
Oh, but God, I mean, think about it. Of all the shit that McDonald's has, isn't their sweet tea delicious?
Oh, McDonald's is the worst sweet tea on the planet.
Get out of my hangout. That is the Popeyes has got good sweet tea too. Yeah. Oh.
The McDonald's one, I just do it, but I get it half cut.
Oh, you have a watered down.
That is like my cheat day. That's something I'll have on a cheat day for sure, is a McDonald's half-cut sweet tea.
Do they charge you the same for it?
And I don't want them to put ice in it, because then it's just a watered-down mess. I'll put my own ice.
Do they charge you half price?
Sweet tea home from McDonald's, and I put sugar in it, so it's like it's yeah.
Do you know what's really I heard?
They didn't put any in there.
Do you know what I heard is really bad? Is some of the drinks you get from Starbucks, like those.
Frappuccino! Oh my God, that's a heart attack.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. They're delicious, but I heard they're just so amazingly bad for you.
I think the Dunkin' Donuts, the gimmicky ones from Dunkin' Donuts, like the chocolate chip cookie dough, I think those are way worse than the Starbucks ones.
Oh,
okay, people, you're not supposed to have these things every day.
No, I know. Again, I'm one of those people. Once I get to my target weight, I'm not going to eliminate. Things I like. If I could have a frappuccino every so often, I'll indulge, right? But like you said, it's nothing you have every single day, right?
Right.
Well, sugar is one of those things that people it does trick your brain into wanting more of it. Like I don't want to call it having a sugar addiction. I'm not sure the science behind that, but
it's natural. It's natural.
It's I've noticed that ever since I've gotten my Keurig, I've required more and more sugar be put into my own coffee. And even after I put sugar in there, I've had to put, and I was like, what the hell am I doing? And then I have the creamer. Like this is ridiculous. But I think if I stop drinking for a week, and I'm going to try this next week when I start going to school, or next week after next, to see if I.
You're going to feel miserable.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel miserable, but I want to see if I can nix that desire to put so much sugar in there. Because it's
can
ridiculous.
I ask you to consider a different kind of coffee?
Can it be put in a Keurig?
No, you make it, and you just make your coffee as normal, but proof coffee.
Oh, I've heard of that.
What's it called?
Bulletproof.
Bulletproof.
Oh.
And you can just look it up online, Bulletproof. And all you do is you put your coffee, you make it however you're going to do, and then you put the ingredients into a blender, blend it up for like 30 seconds, and drink it. And the value of that one is it has something called MCT oil as well as coconut oil in it. And what it does is it allows the caffeine to be carried out longer. So you know how you like after like 2 or 3 hours, you're like, I need another cup. This thing lasts 6 to 8 hours. So you're not like, oh, I need another cup for that period of time. And it gives you like some really good fats is my point.
I mean,
so it just asks you to consider.
Do you remember about it's almost been 2 years now, but do you remember what I quit? I just almost said it. Do you remember what I quit back in December? It'll be 2 years this December. Do you remember? Think back. What did I quit?
He had his oral fixation.
Yeah,
smoking or something.
Do you remember? Yeah, do you remember that? I mean, back. I mean, I was probably back in Nadia's room or something. I don't remember.
I don't actually.
But, yeah, but you knew that I smoked for the longest time, right?
I did not know that. I've never seen you smoke on cam. So
I never smoked on cam. Yeah, I didn't really smoke on cam, but yeah, I smoked for 25 years. And then 2 years ago, I quit smoking, and people were like amazed. And I quit. I shit you not, people. I quit cold motherfucking turkey. I mean, that was it. Done. I haven't had a puff. I haven't had a cigarette. I haven't had a cigar. It's been almost 2 years now. I did not think that.
What about vaping?
No vaping. I did not think that I could ever do it. I told myself, look, if I ever wanted to quit, you know what? I would have to force myself. But I put my mind to it, and I said, look, I'm going to quit. It was kind of the first couple days was actually accidental. I was too lazy to go out and get smokes. I was feeling miserable. I was not feeling well like usual because I've been just had a lot of shit going on, and I couldn't even get out of bed, and I didn't want to go get smokes. But by the third day, I'm like, well, shit, I've already gone this long. Maybe I can go a little bit more. By the sixth day, I was even worse sick. I had what's called the smoker's flu. It is a real thing. You feel like you have the flu. It's a horrible, horrible feeling. And you're not going through withdrawals either, because your withdrawals it goes out of your system in the first day or so. But I just wanted to let you know that I set my mind to it. I quit smoking after 25 years. This diet, I know I can do it for the same reasons. I'm setting my mind to it, and I'm accomplishing it. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that if you do set your mind to meeting your goals and expectations, and you have a game plan, I've got one. Ermine has added more to it, and we're gonna refine it. This is how you get things done. And I wanted to point out that I don't see a lot of people having these kind of game plans when they're wanting to do something. Like, we're going to change topics a little bit because it's the Sunday show and we talk a lot of shit. But like for example, when people were talking about their channels and their YouTube stuff, I don't see a lot of progress for what they want to do. G-Man just recently said he wants to get 1 million subs, and does no goal to how to do that. Right? I'm not going to get 1 million subs. I know what my expectations are.
Steve, maybe you can help G-Man out by subbing to him with all your sock accounts.
That's a good point. That would put him at about 500,000. But I have the same, because this hangout is about meeting goals and expectations. I have the same goals for my channel as well as the GDC. And my channel, I know where I want to be as far as the subscribers. I'm on target. I have my projections. It's all about having a goal and trying to get to it, no matter what it is. It makes no difference, whether it be work related, whether it be socially, whether it be, just something you want that you want to work toward. And I'm finding out when you have something that you want to work toward, it makes you feel better. Just recently on the Great Debate Community channel, the community channel, we've been doing hangouts on mathematics. If you guys have not seen it yet, they're great. It's fun. I have actually enjoyed having a presentation, making a presentation like one I did the other day on Calculus 2 Taylor series and how to do differentiations. It was fun for me to actually try to remember this and be able to explain it in a way that made sense. I enjoyed that, and I want to do more like that. I want to invite anybody else who has something they want to talk about, something they wanted to give a discussion on, a presentation, a lecture, education on, edification, to become a manager for the Great Debate community page and run your own hangout and have it on your topic.
I would love if anyone, I mean, I can't do this at this point because I've been out of the field for so long, but just on saving and financial management, if there's anybody out there, I'll just put that out there, that ever want to just leave like a 30-minute, 1 hour on like, hey, this is the basics of saving, and this is for short term as well as long term, and this is how you build your own capital or wealth. A great conversation. I mean, I've been fortunate in the fact that I was able to buy a house during the low in the economy, and that's made the greatest difference ever.
So I haven't made. I have no money to manage. It is the simplest way to go about it. But no, you know what? I understand what you're saying, because the reason I was able to move was because I bought my house and I got equity out of that home. And if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for the equity I got out of my house, I would have never been able to move to be only 2 miles away from my daughter, as opposed to the 90 miles I was away before. And that, to me, bar anything else, no matter whatever happens in my life, that was the greatest decision I ever made, was buying that house, getting enough equity to sell it years later, and be able to move to be much closer to my daughter. Nothing to me means more than that. So she's right.
And that's what wealth allows you to do, is it allows you choices, it seems like.
Yeah, and it cost a lot. I mean, I went through, tens of thousands of dollars in order to make this move, and I'm dead broke. But I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change anything about it. It was just great. I love my daughter, and I've been watching her grow up, and I wouldn't have been able to do that before. I mean, even though I only see her like twice a week or something, but we go to McDonald's, even though I don't partake, but I have a coffee.
But I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Those are the times that, when she grows up, she's going to appreciate that time spent with you.
Yeah, but I wish though I could get her to be more interested in some of the science topics and the math topics. So I've explained to her, look, she's got a college fund already. Her college fund is pretty well set because she got my dad's death benefits. My dad's entire insurance went to my daughter. I didn't get a dime. Nobody else in my family got a dime. That was the way we wanted it. But she can't touch that until she's 18, and it has some stipulations. She has to be enrolled in college, and she has to maintain at least a 3.0 average, or we might go to a 2.8. We'll see. But I mean, she has to have a decent average, whatever, right? Yeah. But she's already picked out her school. She wants to go to Cal State San Bernardino or Long State. Wait one sec. She wants to go to a school in California down here. She wants to play softball, and she wants to major in some kind of science-related field, she said, but she doesn't know which yet. And I'm like, you know what? You still got time for that. I'm okay with that. Yeah. So. Go ahead, Jack.
I think there was some study that said girls around your daughter's age begin to lose interest in science, which is very interesting. But this is a study I think like maybe 10 years ago that they were doing. But I'm curious to see how that has changed given the recent kind of events where there's more of a push for women in the STEM field. So.
Well, she has an interest in it, but not as much as I would like, right? But I want her to have much more because that's what I like. But she. Okay, this is going to sound bad, and soon I'm going to mute you real quick because you're just making all kinds of weird noises. But my daughter, and it sounds really bad, she likes to know more than her classmates. She wants to be that person that gets the A's. She wants to be that person where the teacher goes, I remember that student. And I don't have a problem with that. So, when she has students that actually have some weird beliefs, like flat earth type stuff, right? She just thinks they're outright idiots, but she wants to be able to explain to them why they're wrong. And so I'm looking for that day where she knows the sciences, the physics, the maths, where she's able to do this on a level beyond her ability, or beyond what a normal classroom would be, right? She's only 12. But when she gets into high school, that's only 4 years from now. When 4 years from now, she should be doing calculus, I think. Don't you think? Most people, most advanced students, by the time they reach 12th grade, have already done some work in calculus, or at least pre-calculus, I would suspect, in a STEM-related program, right, Drag? Or you're supposed to, at least. Drag? Anybody? People are asking. The link is posted in the Great Debate community. It's always there. But I guess Tony doesn't seem to have it working for him. So let me get you the link, Tony. A sec. Tony,
yeah, I don't have the invite thing.
Like whenever I'm streaming OBS, it's slow.
I want kind of something similar for my son, as far as him being able to excel over his peers, and that's kind of based on where okay, we want everyone to you want to be promoted past your peers and that sort of thing, but I don't want to this idea that he needs to be the smartest guy in the room or the best guy in the room everywhere he goes, because that type of mentality, conducive toward him working together in a team.
Yeah, no, she wants that in her school, though.
Let's find a balance.
What's the old saying? If you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah. But unfortunately, you can't change your room in school, right? You can't change what class you're in, right? So I understand her reasoning for that. And I was kind of the same way too. I was they called like the professor or brainiac, whatever. I mean, I was the guy in school where if we had a project, I'd be the one they would come to for the advice. I'd be the one. We would have like a problem. We had a computer competition, programming competition, me and some other people. I ended up writing the whole program. I ended up doing all the programming for it. These other two guys I was with didn't know what the hell was even up, and we just turned it in as a community thing, as a collective. But I did the entire program because they didn't know how to solve the problem. So
right. Can I ask you to consider something with your kids?
Yeah.
Because I think you'll get the outcome that you seek. And I got to be careful because I've only raised one, right? And they're all so different. But I want you to consider this with your kids, is that you encourage them to be better than themselves and not look at the outside competition, because that shouldn't matter.
It should be that it should be for they're in competition with themselves.
Exactly. If you can create that intrinsic value where their whole thing is, I got 100% on the test. Who cares if the whole other class got 100%? The next time they're shooting for 102 to get the bonus question or whatever it is. That's where they're going to, in my opinion, find the greatest value in life, because there's nothing that anybody can say to them, or there's nothing anyone can do to them where later on, if they compare them to someone else or they don't, whatever, they're going to find the value in their relationships, in their work, in their creative process, and it's all going to be value for them and based on whatever they value. So I think that could potentially, I'm just asking you to consider, make her more excited, like focused on what kind of science she wants to study, if she realizes it's all based on her value.
Oh, I totally agree.
Right? And like what's important.
Yeah, I totally agree. And what's funny is like when I was in college, and I would get like a 98, right? I would actually be upset, to be honest with you. It depends on the class, but there's some classes I get a 98. And I said, what the hell did I screw up this one freaking problem? How did I make that goddamn stupid mistake? Right?
That's exactly where you want your kid to be. That's exactly.
So I totally agree with you, because that's how I was. It pissed me off. I was like, I can't believe I did that.
Right, but then it's not about anybody else, because that's what people don't get. Competition is not out there; it's internal.
Right.
And you can constantly raise your level. Like, the reality of it is, like, the teacher can give a test and it could be the easiest thing in the world and you score well and everybody else does poor. That happened in some of my science classes in college. And I was like, what are you two people retarded? They're like, we didn't know you had to memorize Avogadro's number. I was like, you don't have to memorize it. You have to figure it out.
6.022 times 10 to the 23rd. I'll never forget that.
But But if you understand it conceptually, you should be able to take 1 kilojoule, 1 mole, you get what I'm saying? And you can back into Avogadro's number. But that's the point. Go ahead.
But it's hard not to memorize Avogadro's number when you use it a lot. I've never forgotten it, right? 6.022 times 10 to the 23.
I completely agree with you. But the point is, there were people who couldn't understand the inverse. I mean, the scores on this test are unbelievable. I wasn't competing with those idiots.
Well, it's glad you brought that up.
I was just competing with myself.
I'm glad you brought that up because go watch the hangout that I had yesterday, Ermine, on the presentation I did with math, because I was impressed with myself that I was able to not only relearn it, but to regurgitate it in a way where I showed I have a conceptual understanding of this, and to be related to somebody else. Because you're right, a lot of people, they just go through the motions. They just go, okay, blah blah blah, step A, B, B, whatever. They don't understand the concepts being utilized, and I think in the long run, without a doubt, that is detrimental
in every field of study. Because what people don't realize is if you get really good at solving problems in any field, you can use that in others. That's why I love Elon Musk so much. The guy has, like, his ability to solve complex problems by simplifying the fuck out of them and understanding the variables, and then boom, done, like, is like none other.
What do you think about that Hyperloop thing, though?
I think it's crap.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Oh.
Let me tell you why.
Thank you.
I'll tell you why it's crap.
I just like the fact that he's pushing things into the future.
The reason why, yeah, no, he's genius. He's a genius.
Yeah, I love it.
But the reason,
you're not different than him.
But I'll tell you why the hyperlink is not viable. The hyperlink system works in a you have a vacuum. You're in a vacuum state inside that. Okay. If you have a depressurized system, and you have any kind of deformation in the structure, okay, you're going to cause a catastrophic failure, because how much energy do you think is stored in a system that's at vacuum potential in an atmosphere? It's gargantuan over several miles. It'll collapse under itself with the smallest deformation, because you lose your structural integrity. And that's
especially
dangerous.
In a place like California where you have earthquakes. Sure. I would just ask, what would make it work? Like, in what environment could it potentially work?
Underground? No, not even underground.
No, it's awesome in theory, but you have practical limitations.
Right, but maybe you shift it and it becomes magnets instead of you know what I mean, like the.
Well, that's different though. That's a rail system rather than a Hyperloop uses a vacuum. But you're right, using a rail like a railgun system, those work.
All I'm saying is he's actually pushing the envelope, and everything I've seen him do, he goes way out there in left field, and then he gets corrected back to center.
Yeah. No, I give him props for like being creative on it. But the Hyperloop.
No, but nobody before him would even push the center.
Sure.
So they're already deciding, how do we do the Hyperloop without the problems that you suggested? Mm-hmm. So that's what I like about them. It's like, let's come up with a big idea, and then let's figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, I don't see any way around that huge problem, because it's just a problem with physics. You're out of vacuum potential. So I don't see how you can ever resolve that. Like you said, if there's an earthquake, the whole system will collapse.
Right. No, I don't. I don't doubt that. I didn't think it was right for. It could be very interesting in Colorado as long as you don't put it where there are tornadoes. So it can't go on the East Plains, but that could be really intriguing next to our Flatirons.
I think the mag trains
are better.
Rednecks
with guns. I think a gun might do it too.
Yeah.
What if you bury it?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You still have the same problems. But I tell you, the mag lift.
No, I'm just saying you don't have the weather and the rednecks with guns.
Yeah. Right. Let's just shoot at it.
Yeah, shoot. Oh, can you imagine if somebody shot at a Hyperloop? Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
I didn't even think of shooting.
But you know somebody would, right? You know somebody would fucking do it because they're just dicks,
they would.
Right?
I mean, they're gonna sit there on the side of the rail waiting for it to come and see who can take pot shots at it and blow it up one day.
You're exactly right.
Shit, right? Yeah. But I gotta tell you, the mag train is probably a far more effective idea.
We're talking about people who shoot road signs.
No, you're exactly right. The only thing I would ask for the shooting and some of that stuff, could you make it out of some reinforced like I don't even know what kind of steel you would have to make it out of, so that those types of things, unless it's like an Uzi, wouldn't.
Yeah, but it does. It's okay. There's I don't remember who had the video, but they had a train car. I think it was MythBusters. Had a train car.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Train car, right? Which is like what you keep oil in, right? One of those oil cars. Yeah. They put that at the same vacuum potential, and then they dropped something on it, which causes a structural deformation. That whole train car imploded on itself because of the vacuum. It was a minor nick, too, in comparison to the train car. It doesn't take much.
Yeah, but then again, Steve, the train car isn't meant to hold a vacuum. It's meant to hold a liquid at atmospheric pressure.
But the point is that's steel,
so
dude.
But I'm just saying, that's not fair because the vessel was not designed to take the pressures.
It wouldn't matter.
You needed to drop something heavy on top.
You have a cylinder. Anything you make that cylinder out of is going to have the same internal vacuum, which means you have a constant pressure from the atmosphere on the outside. You would have to have a material literally that has an infinite amount of structural strength or close to it. You would have to have something so massively it would just be unwieldable. It'd be unfeasible, right? What are you gonna have, like 12 miles of stainless steel so it doesn't collapse in itself for a Hyperloop? It's just not practical.
Yeah, cast iron it would have to be probably.
But anyways, hey EO, did you see my presentation today, EO?
I was going with carbon fiber nanotubes.
Yeah, carbon fiber.
It's not high tech, Tony. Until carbon fiber nanotubes.
Carbon fiber is pretty impressive. EO, did you watch my presentation this morning? No.
Sorry, man, I was out cold. I hope it went well.
Yeah, no, it was simple. I did a real basic one on order and operations because Midnight had asked me, and I realized, if we're going to start doing some maths and people don't understand how to do simple linear, equation or something, just a simple evaluation of an expression using order of operations, they're going to be so lost. So it's very simple. It's like 3 or 4 problems, each one progressively difficult, more difficult, but something that's like 5th grade level. And most people did pretty well on it. They understood.
Did you use BedMoz?
I did. I showed them that is PEMDAS.
PEMDAS is not.
BuildMOS, BidMOS,
I grew up with BedMoS, but
PPMDS, I used all of them at the show.
Yeah, Steve showed us all the acronyms for it, so therefore no one can argue and say you're wrong.
Or that I'm a nationalist because I used PEMDAS, which they usually in the States rather than BuildMOS. I showed him BuildMOS, BidMOS, BedMOS. Yeah.
And he also explained the difference between brackets and parentheses. They're the same, people.
No,
it's the curvy lines.
Yes. So, Steve, the reason this is so important is that mathematics is the universal language of the universe, and we have to all agree to the same language and rules. So, which is the syntax. So, good job.
It's the universal language of love for nerds.
No, really what Steve was trying to do is finally get an end to that stupid Facebook post where they put up a math problem and everyone gets it wrong.
Yeah, that's it pretty much. Well, and then the next one I'm going to be doing, I might do one on symbology, which I think is important, but then I want to do that one on linear equations and then into matrix. But I like I said, I can't do the one on matrix before linear equations because that would make no sense. But there's anything else people want on that I remember or that I could relearn? I'm really enjoying this. I'm not lying. I'm actually finding this out to be cool. So I don't mind.
We should do basic geometric series, Steve.
I could do
1 over 1 minus x.
No, I could do geometric series. I could. Well, one of the proofs that I use for 1 = 0.99 repeating is a simple geometric proof. If you want to learn geometric progressions, I know those too. I could do those. I could do a presentation on those. They're not terribly difficult. How to find the 5th term in a geometric progression? Not terribly difficult. But again, these are just things that I want to relearn or I have an interest in and I'm able to do, and I want to be able to help other people learn something. I think the GDC should be people explaining the things in a way that people understand and have presentations if you want. I don't mind that. I think it's great. So I'm really happy that, like, for example, Richard had his discussion with a bunch of people yesterday on the contingency argument. Ozzy thought it was great. He posted about it. I thought it was brilliant. I want to see more stuff like that because that was primo. That was really good.
Well, maybe we can get G-Man to teach us how to make a prayer journal that actually works 100% of the time.
He's doing one of macaroni art for us.
Oh, you guys are cruel.
Well, he's really good at macaroni art.
It was just me.
You know what? And I'm not kidding. If G-Man said, "Hey, Steve, I'm really good at whatever he's good at. Just say assume that he is on something. He's like, I want to give a presentation.
Preaching to the choir.
Well, let's say he was good at, I don't know, just something that he could show somebody. You know what? Electrical wiring. There you go, Tony. He could do electrical wiring. Let me show you how to wire a fuse box or something. I would be like, go for it. Do it. Go ahead. I would be happy with that.
But stay alive after the apocalypse comes with only like aluminum foil and toothbrushes. You know, something real.
How to stay alive during the zombie apocalypse. I think that'd be a great hangout.
Maybe he could demonstrate how to break into a small strong box using just a screwdriver and a hammer.
But what we do get is, I mean, did you saw what Ronnie put out this morning? It was like, really, this is your content. I mean,
what was this content?
It was ridiculous. It was mind-bogglingly stupid. So, yes, I mean, this is the part of the program during the Sunday show we start doing the e-peen thing. It has to happen. It's the Sunday show. But I don't even know where to go anymore with the Clown Car Posterity and them. I've had enough. If you guys watched the discussion that I had on Drag's channel with G-Man, I was pretty much in mockery stage because I was like, this is just not even worth my time.
That was ridiculous. I was listening to that, and I was just, it's like he rehashed stuff so that he could be relevant again. And he knew that videos would be made after it. I think no one was talking about him, and he was getting mad. And so he rehashed this up, knowing that we would talk about it for the next 3 days.
Well, exactly.
He's good at that, though.
He wasn't getting the results from Kate that he wanted from Bionic Dance. Remember? He wasn't getting the desired results from Bionic Dance, and therefore he had to move on to somebody else, and he just happened to pick me.
And because of that, none of us can debate him anymore. That's terribly sad.
It's crushing. But with that note, I mean, I think we're kind of running the end of this program. But I just want people to know that, you know, look at 80% of the time in my hangouts, we're discussing things of relative nature. The other 25% time, yes, we're going to discuss people like G-Man and Nephilim or whatever, because that's what we do. We shit talk. But the vast majority of time, I want good conversation. I want good dialogue. I want substance, right? And I think that the hangouts and the Great Debate community, which is the G+ community, has been going exceptionally well. I think it's going on a great direction. I think having the webpage has been showing people that when the upcoming events are, which, by the way, let me tell you the upcoming events. There's a debate with Wayne Fillmore and King Crocoduck on the 9th, September 9th, if you guys weren't aware of that. Fuzz Rana, Dr. Fuzz Rana from Reasons to Believe, one of our most favorite guests, he'll be here on the 22nd. He'll be having a discussion with Bill Ludlow, the guy that kicked Kent Hovind's ass. And then we'll have Dr. Hugh Ross on in September. And also, I've got two other people from Reasons to Believe that will be joining us, one of which has specifically gone out of his way to request being on the GDC. He actually reached out to me. He's a friend of Fuzz Rana's. He has a PhD. He really was impressed how we handled the discussion with Reasons to Believe with Hugh and with Fuzz, and he wants to be a part of it. So he'll be joining us. And then next week on Wednesday, which I believe is the 1st. Is that right? No, that can't be the 1st. What is it? What's Wednesday of next week, guy? Somebody tell me.
I think it's the 31st. Wednesday?
Is it 31st? I think you're right. So it's the 31st. I have a YouTuber, which I'm not going to tell you the person's name yet because I've solidified it, but I want to wait till I get a promo. But there's a new, somewhat newer atheist, about 5,000 subs, give or take, that's out there. I was really impressed with her videos. Not the fact that she's an atheist, but the fact that her videos were entertaining, they were funny, and she's congenial, and not your militant type atheist. And she has happily agreed to come on and be a guest in the Great Debate community. I'll just tell her your name. Her name's Rachel Oates. Have you guys heard of her yet?
Yeah, nope. I subbed to her. Her stuff is good.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's going to be joining us, and so we've got a smorgasbord of people that are guests, and I am working my ass off to bring in other guests. I spent a lot of time with emails. Drag has seen some of them. I've got Jerry Bergman, who'll be joining us, who's from AIG. He just can't figure out how to make an email account because his got shut off because he left his college. But we might use a Skype thing, and I've kind of semi got Dr. Humphreys. Sort of. We still need to get some questions to him so he can get acclimated to the GDC, and then maybe he might come on. So I just want to give you guys a heads up for the next couple months. A lot of stuff in the works. Of course, we're going to have hopefully another debate with Ken Hovind. That'll be with Herman Mays, but we haven't got that worked out yet because I want to wait. We need a break from Kent. No, it's just we do because it's just mind-numbing.
Yeah.
So I don't want this to be.
Brain cells.
Yeah, I don't want to be focused just on Kent. There's other things that we can have discussions, debates with. So, anyways. Anybody want to get the last word? Because you're not in here very often, please take the last word. By the way, I want to tell you it was great having you back in here. I hope you join us more, and I think you added a lot to this particular conversation. So I'm very glad it is something you had knowledge about and you were able to expand upon this stuff. And I will take what you said to heart. But go ahead and take us out so we can end the program and move on with our lives today.
Who take you out?
Go ahead and take us out. In other words, get the last word in so I can end the stream and we can move on with our things.
Well, I can't tell you how much I appreciated getting the link today and how much I valued the conversation, and taking to it is very, like you, very methodical, and that definitely all of these continue to get me going, and hope that everybody took something from it in just general problem solving. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. So with that, there is a story I want to tell you once we're off air.
Okay, sounds good. All right, guys. If I do another math tonight, it'll be later in the evening. If not, I'll do one tomorrow because I am working on something. Anyway, guys, thanks for all you guys watching, and I wish you the best, and we'll see you later.